where we've made it through, knock on wood, with 0. Okay? We just had a great fall buildup. We have people out here 2 days, ding, that, this, that. Nothing serious. So I look and see what is our injury rate, and then the second thing that I do is I look at our results. Did we peak at the right time? Because that's the first thing that needs to be addressed, is did we peak? Then I say, all right, all those Instagram videos that you saved in that little file that says maybe, go re-look at those and then look at the ones and go, what were you thinking at the time? Jump, delete. And you're left with like 12 new videos. Then you start calling people that you trust and you go, hey, have you ever done anti-rotational holds like that? I'm like, oh no, that sounds like that would be amazing with all that torsion. And then after I talk to people I know, before I program the new year, I take everything that I did in the last 5 years, which is about 80 sheets of paper, and I wallpaper my entire office by year, and I go through and I put a rating on each of those exercises about how I feel about them. So there might be an exercise like a Bondarchuk lunge. Okay? I think Adrian programmed them for your wife. I used to think the Bondarchuk lunge was a 9 until we started having a lot of shearing knee force pain with it when we went heavier. So I then marked that to a 6 to being completely out of our programming. Meg, you maybe did them your freshman year? Yeah, freshman year. So it's been 5 years since we've done Bondarchuk lunges. But yet I look at a sheet of paper that has the word Bondarchuk lunge on it every year. And I try to make the decision, is it worth bringing back? And I say to myself, with all of Cal Dietz's new stuff about safety squat bars and single leg, there's so many more efficient ways with kettlebell step backs. I don't need that exercise, and it just keeps getting moved out. So that's how I move the bad ones out. I rate them, and then I do a reverse engineered self-evaluation.
That's smart. That's awesome.
Thank you. All right, guys, thank you.
We're going to open it up for
Overall questions.
10, 15 minutes with the panel speakers that were here today. Dr. Kanata had to leave. But if you guys have any questions that you want answered before we all get out of here, feel free to ask them.
Anybody been harboring a question all day from this morning from Russia or China or vertical jump or max stuff or anything you just heard? Kendra.
This is a question for Ryan about the depth jumps.
Yes.
I'm training some like middle school athletes, some 6th graders come in, and I've seen different research about at what point kids should start doing plyos. Do you have like a belief system on depth jumps and plyos for kids?
Yeah, that's a good question. At that age, I think it's more about learning landing than anything.
Okay.
So sometimes at that age, I would have to maybe step off a 6-inch box or 8-inch box and just land. Make sure you're not having a valve stress at the knee. Make sure they can absorb force. If they go down and it looks like they're not muscularly absorbing it, they're probably not ready for it. And the low level stuff, jumping rope at that age is amazing for building the foundation for that. And you can knock out 1,000, we talk about work capacity, here it is again. You can knock out 1,000 jumps with a jump rope really quick. And over time, build up the volume of jump rope. And then all of a sudden they're in 8th, 9th grade, and they've got this tremendous foundation through the ankles, hips, and knees. And then you can start getting a little more aggressive with the jumps.
Okay.
Yep.
Use phone blocks and jump up to things, not down first. That's what we do with a lot of kids that have special needs at the gym. And I'll have them just jump up to little soft phone blocks. I got blocks this tall, and that tall, and that tall. If you're jumping up to something, you're not landing that high. You're going this high.
Yeah.
So the impact's not high, but they get the coordination. If they trip, they're on a phone block, nothing happens.
Okay.
For little kids, like 5 and 8 years old.
I talked to Morris about biometrics because I don't know if you know this about Boris Schaefer, but he's the only doctor in powerlifting in the world, right? So through the university in Russia, he presented his plan for a doctorate degree in powerlifting. They said, okay, he went through with it. Long story short, he's a Russian doctor in powerlifting, had all the access to the research, with the biometrics done in the Soviet system in Russia. But he distilled it down to a very easy quote to remember. There are no no advanced exercises. There are only exercises the person is not ready for. So with your kids, it's not that plyometrics are good or bad, the kid just may not be ready for them.
That makes sense. Thanks.
Others? Anything? Not related to what we talked about. Go.
When doing the volume before, is that giving you enough work for the assistants if you don't have the time after your main exercise?
Yeah, I think,
I mean, we're talking pretty untrained high school.
yeah, once you're strong enough, I mean, once you can move enough weight, but, you know, even having the kids go through 300 reps of a warm-up and then a core lift is better than most models I've ever seen for high school, honestly. But, you know, once they get used to it, they can start adding and adding and adding. I'd say by the time, say, you're freshman to junior, the amount of weights they're able to use for those warm-ups are pretty extensive. Like I was telling Jud, we were talking, when I shot that live video of me doing my actual warm-up. So for instance, Wednesday, I did 50-pound dumbbells, lat pull-downs, and tricep push-downs. Did 25 of each, and came back to the dumbbells, 75-pound dumbbells, lat pull-downs, triceps. Then did 90-pound dumbbells, lat pull-downs, triceps, and then 105s for 50 push-downs and lat pull-downs, and I was done in 12 and a half or 13 minutes. And then I did speed work, and my meters per second was still over 1.0 with roughly 365 pounds. So, I mean, the thing of it is, it took me years to build that up, but my point is that you start off easy, it's just the magic of the volume will fix it, you know? It doesn't have to be crazy. The warm-up should take 12 to 14 minutes tops, or you're just thinking around, taking too much rest.
I think too.
Specifically for Jud, but in general, we talk a lot about what you do before getting into the workout, but do you guys have any set routine now for what you do once you get done, like for recovery, for stretching?
Absolutely.
Specific days. What is your working for that?
To me, the fastest way to go, look, there's two systems, parasympathetic and sympathetic. You want to be sympathetic during your workout. The faster you can switch your body over to parasympathetic, the faster you're going to get into recovery. The fastest way to get into parasympathetic is to probably walk a half-mile cool down, lay down on the ground, put your hands on your belly, and do deep belly breaths in through your nose and out through your nose. Okay, so if you just research deep belly breaths for recovery, you will go down a rabbit hole you won't believe in terms of recovery. It's out
I'm sorry
there.
for the face, I've never heard of this.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still young.
Any coaches in here using?
You could make that cool down even better and quicker if you do your walking all through the nose.
Right, and so the number one way, if he's saying do that walking all through your nose, Cal Dietz has his athletes, this is the truth, everyone takes a sip of water, puts it in their mouth so they can't talk and they can't breathe. And they walk a half-mile cool down. The only way is to breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. That will shift your body over to parasympathetic. As soon as you so you want to get out of fight or flight, because if you're in fight or flight for too long, your cortisol levels are going to go through the roof. Am I right?
Yeah,
Science
fight
guy?
or flight, parasympathetic is rest and digest. You want to be able to rest and digest as soon as possible after the workout, so you can take advantage of the nutrients you're taking in, and it can recover. If you're like amped up and anxious and fired up for too long.
So you should, take your nutrients before you do the walk and the...
I think you can, yeah, deep belly breaths or just walking with water in your mouth or no water in your mouth. Anybody know about mouth taping? Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are sleeping with mouth tape so that they can't breathe through their mouth and they only breathe through their nose. Stan Efferding, the white rhino, who thinks, and Brandon Lilly's the same way, believes that any guy that snores even a little bit, or girl, should be wearing a CPAP because of how much, I think that the recent study that you expel 3 to 4 grams of salt, is what Stan said, with the sleep apnea. And it's not the lack of water that's dehydrating you, it's the lack of salt and iodine in your diet. Okay, so I don't mouth tape, okay, but I do try to switch over to parasympathetic as quick as I can. That's why I wear a Whoop band, to track my recovery, to track my HRV, to track my hours of sleep, my REM, my slow wave
So you
sleep.
suggest them to do this after every major lift?
Look, I suggested for the first 4 weeks of the year,
Minutes.
and then I stopped suggesting it. And someone like Megan Tomei, you don't ever have to tell twice,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I come back, if I would tell her to do that, I'd go home for an hour and come back, and she'd still be walking around the track with water in her mouth and, right? Yeah. The good ones are gonna get it done. If you have to tell them over and over again after you've already told them every day for a month, it's not worth it.
And into that, a lot of it's just quality of sleep in general. So I'll take 1,000 milligrams of magnesium glycinate before I go to bed every day. It shuts my brain down, my muscles relax. I got that from Charles. But I didn't realize how much that made a difference until he told me that and I started doing it. And then what I started to realize was that I didn't have to worry as much about what I was doing after the workout, as long as the 8 hours of sleep I was actually getting was deep, was good REM sleep. And every hour, this is good to hit on kids, every hour of sleep before midnight is twice as recuperative. So early bedtimes are huge. Huge. So
Jance, what's your best avenues for shifting your clients parasympathetic? Anything new that we didn't talk about?
I'm big on how Charles did post-workout, which was just making your post-workout look in shape. If clients have a really hard time shifting over into that, glycine, just glycine, regular glycine, can help shift it over. And that stuff is super cheap and easy. It tastes sweet, tastes good. So glycine, just make sure that they have carbs with their protein if they're not, incredibly fat, do the trick. And then, like I said, a lot of my clients, I have them do walking or really light sled walks around the building. So if they're walking, with the nose, just the nose. And the nose thing is tricky because if you do it for 5 or 10 minutes, you will, and you go back to mouth breathing, you'll feel like you recovered 100%. But that's just because that's the way it makes you feel. Your muscles are really not recovered. The next day you'll still be just as sore, but it does a really good trick. Just glycine and nose when done.
the other thing is keeping inflammation down, not eating a high inflammatory diet. I know when I switched over to Stan's vertical diet 13 months ago, my sleep got better even still because I'm not eating anything inflammatory. So most of my carbohydrate is rice-based. I don't have a lot of sodium benzenate or artificial sweeteners in my diet or anything like that, and that makes a huge difference. There's one thing I can go back and change in my 20s. Not in early 30s when I was at my strongest, would have been changing my thought pattern to anti-inflammatory style eating, absorbability, magnesium glycinate, those are huge.
Ryan, anything to add on the recovery, shifting over parasympathetic?
Not much more to add other than Dr. Granada talked on this morning, just making sure you got fuel in the system. Even with things, I prefer fast track carbohydrates, something like a Gatorade. It's dextrose, so it has to be digested to a degree. Something like a highly branched dextrose gets absorbed directly into the small intestine, so it's almost instant. A lot of times with something like Gatorade, it takes a little bit of time, so even if you drink it now, that sugar may not get into the bloodstream for maybe 20 to 30 minutes. Whereas a sip of dextrose is right away. Or honey, like pure raw honey is another good one. So I'll make sure with clients, I'll have them eat, 1 to 2 hours before the meal, so it's a solid meal, it's food into the bloodstream. Have a during workout shake of something like essential amino acids or branched amino acids, along with a cluster dextrin, and then eat after. So you're never low in fuel, and that's really, that and sleep.
Go ahead.
You guys still utilize all the
Malcolm does, Megan does, Jance does. I got certified in it, and what I found is that I quickly lost my touch by not staying practiced with it. I don't feel confident enough to teach my own kids. I didn't feel as a college coach, me being the sole practitioner of touching my kids was something I felt comfortable with. And so it's not that I don't believe it. I've seen the effects of RPR. I don't use it, but yet from when Malcolm came in and taught my kids 2 years ago, I've got probably 3 or 4 of my highest end athletes still on meet day are sitting there and hitting those points and going through their going through all the different stuff and they're clearing themselves, but it's not something that, some stuff had to come out. Just wasn't time for everything.
So wanting to be a strength coach after college, you guys know a lot, obviously. What were the best ways you guys retained all your information?
Then you got two that
It's really simple, you apply. You can't just fucking read, you gotta go out and do. That's the thing, is like all the stuff stuck with me because Louis would show me something or Charles would show me something, I would do it. 100 miles an hour, as hard as I could. And then it never leaves. And then, like he's talking about with his program, is I have a certain set of beliefs of the way I train, but the rest of that is molded in ideas that they can modify by learning something new. Like that Serrano road, he showed me that shit before, and I'm gonna use it when I get home. But the point is I still have this other core of the things that I learned. So I think with people today, you find a lot of strength coaches come out, they think it's cool and look at a strength coach, but they don't actually want to be strong. And there's a lot of stuff I learned putting myself through the drama that I think would just, I would never understand before if I just read it. Same thing with these guys.
So Malcolm wanted to be a strength and conditioning coach. So we're going to start with interning
Yeah.
for AG.
Milo.
Oh, okay, with the Browns.
Yeah, so Tommy Zielinski with the Browns, and that's what kind of set me in motion to be a strength coach, because I saw what they did and I really enjoyed it. Like learning about the human body, and from there, just came back, and being under Jud was obviously huge. I mean, he's spoken at how many different clinics this year alone, just on strength training. So I definitely had an added advantage there. Then stayed here for 2 more years, got my master's, studied under A.G. Kruger, and then just got a job after.
Well, you got a job. You went to frickin' Oklahoma to work with the military, the rejects.
Yeah.
Right? So it's sometimes it's not as glorious as it looks. You probably spent, I'm going to say, and then Jance will laugh at all of us, but you probably spent $10,000 of your own money on certifications and seminars that you never got reimbursed for. Do you have any idea how much?
It's 6 figures, it's over.
Yeah, so it's over 6 figures for Jance, stuff that he's just now starting to get reimbursed for.
And I was just lucky enough that I was strong as hell, so Louis would take me under his wing, Charles wanted to work with me. So you can do it a different way. If you make yourself a fucking badass, people will want to work with you.
I did it completely the wrong way at first. While I was going to college, I tried out the Marines. I was going and traveling and taking many seminars, chasing all the advanced hypertrophy, super secret seminars and stuff like that. But I was only in college. I didn't have any responsibility. I wasn't applying it to anybody. And then you would forget a lot of it. And so now I'm finding that I wish I could retake all those courses. Now that I have a business that requires me to apply the knowledge that I have, having my lifestyle, my family supported by the knowledge that I gained, you're goddamn right I'm going to remember what I learned in this seminar because it pays my bills. But when I was in college, taking 5, 6 seminars a year on top of college, I didn't retain a lot of that stuff because I didn't have anywhere to apply. It's like learning a second language. So definitely wait until you get to a place where you can apply the knowledge before you start chasing seminars.
The other thing, don't be afraid to review. That's a simple one. Like, you have to apply the knowledge, but you have to review it too. Like, in my house, I have a bookshelf on bookshelf, all these books. And my wife is just like, "Why are you keeping all these? You've read these." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to read them again." But like, practice of strength training by Zach Sikorsky, I can't tell you how many times. It's like a fucking dog chew on it.
Every time you open it up, something new.
Something new.
Fuck it.
But it's a review. You've seen it before. Matt's a friend of mine. I've heard the technique demonstration. I've probably heard it 3 or 4 times from him, directly in person out of his mouth. I still relearn some stuff today, or pick up some different ways of learning or teaching. It's like you gotta always go back to it, even while you're in the phase of applying.
I mean, like Jance is a perfect example of this. Like going out and reaching out to people, reaching out to the best in the world. I think he's brought the best people in the world to his gym because he's just asked them. Right?
Yeah, it's like I'm out in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's no reason why these people should come It's why I have a banner in my gym that I make everybody sign when they come to it. But, I put a presentation on last year, and I open up, because I get this question all the time, how do you do all these things that you're doing? Like, it's just unbelievable. Well, so I shared this video of Steve Jobs, back when he was sharing his secrets to success. And the video just is basically him just saying, back in my day, I would just pick up the phone and I would call the owner of Dell Computers or something like that. And I would just ask, hey, could you teach me how to build this? What parts are you guys using? And the moral of the story, he says, is that most people are just afraid to ask because they're afraid of rejection. But more often than not, if you just ask somebody, they're going to be more than happy that you thought of them to ask for education, that they're going to be happy to help you out. So that's my biggest thing I try to teach coaches coming up, is just ask. You're going to hear no a lot, but you're going to hear yes a lot more. So just ask. And go out and do these guys.
Anybody else? So all I can tell you is that I first want to say that Malcolm came to me with this idea, and I said, as long as you do all the work, I'm in. I'll help you find great speakers that'll, between us, we'll be able to really put our head together on making this epic. So first of all, I just want to thank Malcolm and Anthony for everything that they did. I don't think there's many first-year clinics that can pull this lineup off. I'd like to see what you're going to do for an encore. And I can't tell you that this is going to be something that we're going to continue to do and continue to lean on the giants that are just in Northeast Ohio alone. And then if we get hard up, we can go down into the Cincinnati area. But, I was talking to people outside of the clinic. I said, so, we're going to get new speakers, but would you pay to come back again next year if I said Ryan Family was going to come back and make that kind of presentation that he made, but on a totally different subject? And they're like, oh, hell yes. I'd listen to that guy read the phone book. So that is what we want to hear. Any feedback that you have positively, let me know. Anything you have negatively, let Malcolm know. But no, honestly, they did a great job, and thank you to Matt. I mean, Matt could have very easily come in here and big timed us and come in 5 minutes before his presentation, and then been out of here 5 minutes after his presentation. Same with Ryan. Ryan came down the night before. Jance was coming anyways because he just wanted to keep learning and then got thrown into the mix. So thank you to him. And this is going to be the weekend we're going to continue to do this. So think about that. Any other closing remarks?
Drive home safely.
All right. Thanks, guys.